video for myself in the next year. I will be watching this video again to remind myself what to do in a bank branch audit because it's often easy to forget things. Okay, let's just get started. The first thing to do is first to identify where is the branch. You put it on the Google Maps and you go to the branch. You walk into the branch, you ask for chai. You meet the branch manager, they will ask you, Sir, thanda lenge garam. You would always answer by saying, Sir, chai please, because you don't want to feel sleepy because banks usually have the coldest AC. All right. The first step is to get things done is first you want to fill up your branch profile and get your engagement letter signed because you want to make it official that we are starting this audit and making sure that the branch management would cooperate in providing all the information. All right, and it also becomes the basis for you to report frauds and everything in the future. Okay, and you would ask you would get your branch profile filled up. Okay, where is the branch, what is the location, who is the branch manager, what is his contact, who is the second manager, who has the custody of cash, and who is the cashier, how many people are there, is there any fraud reported during the year. Just a standard questionnaire for analyzing the branch. This is risk assessment. And what you want to get in the first day and the first hour is also the sanction limit of the branch manager, and that's really easy. You would get the internal circular. You would also want to get something which I forgot. You want to get cash holding cash detention limit of the branch as well. Okay, then you would ask the branch management to provide you a login to CBS, and you would ask for the branch login instead of your auditor login because most of the commands would not work in an auditor login. Okay, and then you would generate reports using HFIN RPT. Okay, and first you would go for your most important reports. First is the SMA report. For every month end, you would generate a report of SMA and download it. You would name it as follows, just like 202404, 202405, 202406, so that they are ordered in the correct manner. And then you would download NPA suspense account record. You would download credit monitoring report, and you would download DP limit reports as well for all 12 months. So in this way, you can identify which accounts are falling into SMA constantly. For using your NPA suspense report, you can identify in which accounts there has been recovery or which accounts have dipped down to NPA. Using credit monitoring report, you can get how much amount is outstanding as on a particular date. Using DP limit report for the whole 12 months, you can assess what is the DP in the Finacle or in the CBS for every 12 month if you're auditing a cash credit account or an OD account. All right, and then make sure you delete the PAN number from your SMA report before sending it to your own laptop. Otherwise, the controls, the IT controls would block it. Okay, because it's a sensitive data. Using XLS or CSV file as export in general, or you can use TXT as well. Make sure when you are exporting to CSV, you check whether the account number, which is at 15-digit number, is not converted to scientific notation, else otherwise you'll fail your VLOOKUPs. Okay, now the next step is to generate all of these reports. All right, we are going to talk about them one by one. The first one is the new sanctions report. It's for the accounts sanctioned during the year. Then you would get MIS advance reports. This is to identify even the accounts which are advances but classified as negative, which are negative balance at the year end. So you would get which advances have negative balance at the year end. You can get the GL and PL report for year end closing, and you should get shortfall in security value report. This helps you to get the customer ID of the accounts, but it also helps you to get the shortfall in the security value. That's the purpose, but there is also secondary information in all of these reports. Then you would get the refacement account list to identify whether any account has been rephased explicitly instead of the whole uh, scheme being rephased due to change in the underlying base rate, MCLR, RLLR, or etc. things, EBCLR or whatever. Okay, and then you can get the housing security report. You can get the valuation report to identify the last date of valuation, and if certain valuations have taken place on a single date, it may indicate that there are some problems with the valuation. Okay, then there is interest rate wise advances report. This helps you identify the scheme of the advances as well, and the interest rate as at that date as well. You can also do interest rate wise advances for uh, multiple days, like similar to SMA. You can generate for 12 months, and you can identify if there has been any change in the interest rate explicitly, like if there has been 5% change in the history of interest. You can also do it by a command called you can also use a command called h HAINT RPT. This gives you the interest rate application report, and to print it you need to go for HPR. All right, and then there is this report called MCLR breakup report. All right, there is this MCLR breakup report which gives you a lot of information about how certain interest rates are calculated, and also gives out too much information for a single account. Okay, then there is OD renewal report, there is CC expired report, there is accounts opened report, and there is HYR priority sector wise list. This list, the HYR3 list, should match with your balance sheet outstanding advances. You should also get jewel loan outstanding report. You should get NP upgradation report. You should get valuation expiry reports. You should get income leakage report. You should get a stock statement due report. All of these reports you would use and combine them to create a single sheet in which you can capture all of the data from all of these reports. It's just a single VLOOKUP. All right. And then you would run two more commands. I'm not asking you to generate a lot of command generated reports, but you would run two more commands. One is HLAODR, that is your overdue report for loans. You should do it for each type of scheme. Okay, that would help you generate a lot of overdue accounts. This works for loan accounts instead of the cash credit accounts. Okay, and you should run a report called HTODRPT. This helps you to print the to generate the temporary overdrawing register, and using this you can identify certain accounts which are allowed for temporary overdrafts, and if these overdrafts are not regularized within 180 days, you have to report them as NPA, because these are ad hoc advances. All right, the next thing is to while someone is generating all of these reports and doing burning their hands and eyes watching the slow finacle generate these reports, somebody should ask for the audit reports which are issued during the year or before the audit, just like a risk-based internal audit or revenue audit or a concurrent audit. This would help you identify a lot of problematic areas. And now what you have to do in order to do the risk assessment, this is something I learned this year. You have to make a V stack of the SMA monthly and NPA monthly reports. And once you do that, you have to make a pivot. The pivot has to be customer ID wise in the rows, and in the columns you have to put months, and you should have a values as if an account is SMA 0, you should have value 0. If an account is SMA 1, it should be valued as 1. If an account has SMA 2, it should be 2. And now what you would have is a risk-based model of identifying risky accounts. If certain account has been SMA 2 for a long period of time, it should give you an aggregate of 24. Every month, if it has been SMA 2, it would give you a total of 24. And this account is obviously a stressed account. You should be able to identify these things. Okay, and you have to do it customer ID wise. So when you're doing this as customer ID wise, you would identify problematic customers, and of course, if there is any one account that you can identify, the whole customer is is in problems. So you can also do it account wise, but I think customer ID wise you can get an idea about bigger exposure. And you can also do a you can also do a risk based method, that is the outstanding amount times SMA. Okay, this would give you a risk weighted measure of identifying certain accounts, and you can put this value into your values in your pivot, and the highest account would have the highest risk given the overdue amount. And if an account is a SMA 0, it would give you 0, and these accounts are not that problematic. But however, you should include some SMA 0 accounts in your sample as well, because there are other issues to be noticed as well, not just SMEs. Okay, this helps you identify risky accounts, make 12-month NPA reports, and using the same you can identify upgraded accounts and downgraded accounts very easy. And this will help you to cross verify your NPA movement report. Okay, Now, sampling. Your initial sample should include the following. That's my professional judgment. What should the initial sample include? The first should be your top 10 advances, at least by the outstanding amount. Then there should be top 5 borrower wise exposures. So you need to cover at least the top 5 borrowers, the top 10 advances, top 5 borrowers. Then you will take your initial sample from high risk accounts based on risk assessment, either from concurrent audit or audit reports other than that, and your SMA wise risk assessment. Okay. Then you would take some overdrawn accounts, sorry, not overdrawn, overdraft accounts and cash credit accounts for identifying non-credit accounts, like there has been no credit entry in the last 90 days or not serving interest in the last 90 days. It's easy to identify these accounts, so you would include all of the credit accounts in your initial sample, and some newly sanctioned accounts for KYC verification. So all of these accounts you would ask the management to generate HMS TRP report for the last 12 months and save it in a TXT file. All right. And this would help you to automate a lot of conversion of accounts using a macro or Power Query. Okay. Now, preparation. So the first step of preparation is to combine all of the reports into a single sheet where each and every information in any report generated through the HFIN RPT is captured in a single sheet. So when you filter a single advance, you get all of the information from all of the reports. And this makes it easier for you to make a judgment about whether an account is fishy or not, or whenever you want the information to be captured or compared with the documents. Okay. Now, to start auditing, this is usually for the first day. You should start auditing by first verifying cash. So verify the cash, get the cash certificate signed, very easy. Then you should go for physical verification of the ATM scroll, generate the scroll, compare it with your Finacle, very easy. Then you should go for physical verification of jewel packets. So you should first count all of the jewel packets. There should not be any extra jewel packet there. If there is any extra jewel packet, report it. Okay. First caution here is when you are when you get your jewel loan outstanding report, you put a SUMIF on the balance outstanding report as on 31st March. Not using the jewel loan report. You should use the accounts open during the year report. You should use the accounts open during the year report, SUMIF on that report, the jewel SUMIF on that report, the outstanding balances, and filter the jewel loans. Once you filter the jewel loans, and then you sort it by name, you would identify borrowers which have taken loan during the year and squared it off. This will help you identify NPA gold loans through evergreening. Okay. And then the caution too is, once you do the same trick, you should identify jewel loans which are used for agricultural purposes, because usually jewel loans are for personal loans, but if they are used for agricultural purposes, there should be some backing that there is the borrower is an agriculture and the end use of fund is for agriculture purposes only. So you have to identify whether it has a crop season in the sanction and whether the branch has monitored the end use of funds. So that is another. If there is any misuse of funds, you can report it as NPA as well. Okay. Moving on. Now, first I would go through some easier aspects of auditing a bank. First is you doing other incomes. So you can go for the locker verification. You can check the lockers, how many lockers are being used, compare it with your closing register of lockers being allotted, and then run some analytical procedures. Try to estimate the rental income by using how many accounts were provided and how many accounts, how many lockers were vacant, and you just multiply it with your rate and size of the based on the size of the locker, and you get to an estimate of rental income. And if there is sufficient variance, you can get some assurance regarding it. Make your notings about dead rent and non-traceable customers. That's fine. The next thing is to go through the balance sheet, identify any negative line item. You should inquire about it. You should obtain a breakup of any strange deemed line item using HACS or HBR report, very easy. And you should pass MOC for any stupid entries which are left, something like unrecognized incomes or unamortized expenses. Okay. Now, for off the balance sheet, you should obtain list of bank guarantees, identify if any has expired. You should knock it off through MOC. Map the outstanding BG with the unexpired discounts. And if there is any unexpired discount for which there is no bank guarantee, knock it off. Or if there is any BG which has expired, its unexpired discount, unexpired commission should also be knocked off through MOC, not an issue. Okay. Then there is bank balances. So you should obtain BRS for every bank balance of the branch with other banks, obviously, and pass MOC for any income expenses which are not recognized but provided in the BRS and which exceed the CTT level usually provided in your appointment letter. Okay. Deposit side, examine a few deposits for correct interest rate being charged and identify few inoperative accounts, test check if the inoperative charges are being levied according to the bank policy, and if you can identify certain minimum balance accounts whether minimum balance charges are levied. This is fairly easy, not something to worry about. The next thing is expenses side. You should go and ask for the rental agreement, check whether TDS and RCM or input entries are properly parked, and again you can do the analytical procedure, multiply it by 12 and compare the amounts. Okay. Provision for expenses account, you should obtain the breakup and identify whether there is any stupid amount included in the provision. Okay. And if there are any legal expenses piling up in the profit and loss account of the branch, you should inquire why this is happening, why retainership is being paid to a certain lawyer instead of just obtaining your legal search reports. Okay. The next thing is auditing of advances. The first thing to do is to audit your top 5 advances. This is for the comment in the LFAR. You need to audit these advances end to end and make your notings because you have to give adverse features of top 5 standard advances. Okay. And you should audit other accounts of these borrowers as well because it makes it easier for you to audit the same person. You don't have to go through the KYC and all these common documents again. Okay. And pick up samples from the SMA report and look for end user funds in business loans, whether the end user fund is right. You should obtain trail. In cash credit accounts, you should plot sales and debtors. You should calculate what is the expected collection amount using opening debtors minus closing debtors plus the sales during the month. That should give you the collection amount, and you can compare the collection amount. You should compare the collection amount with your monthly credit balance, monthly credits, and this should give you an idea of how much sales is being not routed through your cash credit. And then you should calculate gross profit and identify if there is any overstatement of inventory or understatement of sales. All this analysis could be done by using their submissions. Okay. You can also analyze the balance sheet of the borrower, whether he has put in the required margin money and whether a fund fusion certificate has also been obtained. And you can also look for adjustments to the profit and loss for, just making the DP at the year end. And you should also compare the audited financial statements with the stock statement submitted in the March of the previous year. And if there is any significant variance, you should ask the management why they have not raised any questions. And what else? You should also compare the stock value during the month, during the year, with the insurance amount of the stock. If there is any significant variance, you should ask the branch management why is there is so much variance in the insured amount of the stock and the stock in the stock statements. Okay. And for related party accounts, you should first ask the branch management whether they have any other account. Is this borrower using any other facilities? Well, very good. You're doing so much great. Get them into your trap, and you should ask them, okay, तो आप इसका भी निकाल दीजिए ना, हम इसका भी audit अभी कर देते. And then you should get all these accounts one by one down, one by one, and then you sort them with your dates. So if you can do paste one account on top, give the name of the account in a column number A, let's say, and then you can paste the other account and give the name of the account in column number A, and sort it by date. So you can look for transactions which are being round tripped. Okay, very easy. Next is you should obtain every HMS TRP report for every account examined. Identify. It's easier to identify SMAs. It's easier to identify NPAs which do not have any large business credit. So that is useful. Okay. Now auditing the NPA accounts, you should obtain the NPA movement report. You should match the NPA date in your ACF report to the ACF report of the previous year closing, so that the date of NPA is not changed by the branch management. And then if there are any recoveries, you should trace the funds through HFTI command and Hackling command and take prints of that as well with yourself, that these amounts are genuinely recovered and not certain loans provided to any other borrower. If there is any husband which has become NPA, you should not give loan to her wife, and then the wife transfer these funds to the husband and then he repays. You should look for the traceability of these funds. Okay. And get screenshot of every transaction. Then there is you should obtain details of fraud which are identified during the year and decrease obtained in the previous year as well, and their aging as well. And finishing off, you should start making your MRL, your MOC, your attendance covering report, your letter to SCA and LFAR. And lastly, sign it off, generate the UDIN and go home. I guess that is all.